Мишка, у нас дом, второй дом взорвался. Газ взорвался. У нас тоже на кухне тут повышибало.
Hi guys, it's Seth. Welcome back to Warthog Defense. They say what goes around comes around, and in Russian Saratov it came with a bang. A massive explosion tore through a 10-story apartment block. Officially a gas leak, but karma doesn't always leave a calling card. At least 3 dead and several still buried under the ruins of what used to be a home. Ironically, it's the kind of scene Russian missiles create daily in Ukraine. Only there, it's not an accident.
They call it a gas explosion, but to many it felt more like a whisper from karma. In Saratov, southwestern Russia, a massive blast ripped through a 10-story residential building, flattening an entire section from the 7th to the top floor. At least 3 lives were lost instantly, and around 10 more may still be buried under the rubble. The official version? A gas leak. The unofficial feeling? Something far more symbolic. Irony doesn't need subtitles. Russia has spent over 2 years turning Ukrainian apartment blocks into smoking ruins, flattening entire neighborhoods under the banner of denazification. Cruise missiles, glide bombs, artillery barrages. Day and night, Ukrainian civilians live under the constant threat of sudden death. Now, one explosion on Russian soil turns heads and sparks media frenzy. It's strange how tragedy feels different when it comes home. The same kind of destruction Russia delivers daily to Kyiv, Kharkiv or Odessa just knocked on Saratov's door. Only this time without a missile, just a pipeline. Karma doesn't always strike back with warheads. It sometimes uses the tools already lying around. In Russia's Tambov region, explosions were reportedly heard during the night. According to Russian Telegram channels, residents claimed that unknown drones may have attacked a gunpowder plant. Several channels stated that unidentified drones had struck the gunpowder factory in the town of Kotovsk. Soon after the alleged strikes, residents began reporting smoke rising in the area of the facility. Corresponding footage has surfaced online. There have been no official comments yet regarding the aftermath. The Tambov gunpowder plant is one of Russia's largest facilities for the production of ammunition and gunpowder. This site has been targeted multiple times by Ukrainian drones. For example, Ukraine's military intelligence attacked the plant in Kotovsk back in November 2023. In addition, there were several raids throughout 2024. The most recent strike occurred last month, on June 11. At the time, the General Staff reported that a fire broke out at the plant following the hit. Ukrainian tactical aviation conducted a bombing strike on a Russian FSB facility in the Bryansk region. The video of the strike was published by the Sonyashnik Telegram channel. It is noted that the target was the building of the Russian border guard post near the village of Belaya Berezka. As a result of the attack, the building was completely destroyed. According to Sonyashnik channel, at the time of the strike, there were FSB officers in the building who ignored the warning. The strike was carried out with the help of 2 French Hammer precision-guided bombs. In early July, the French Ministry of Defense announced the acceleration of the production of high-precision AASM bombs, which have already proven their effectiveness in Ukraine. A corresponding agreement is to be signed by the end of the month with Safran, the main manufacturer of high-precision navigation and control kits for the US-made Machae 80 series bombs. The French government will invest 128 million euros, which will significantly increase production capacity. It is worth noting that by the end of 2024, Safran exceeded the plan by almost 40%. Instead of the planned 600 kits, 830 units were manufactured. The French precision-guided bombs, like the American JDAMs, are designed to modernize conventional free-fall bombs of the Western model, turning them into precision weapons. However, unlike JDAMs, the French systems are distinguished by the fact that they are equipped with a built-in rocket engine, which significantly increases the range. Depending on the conditions of use, ASMs can hit targets at a distance of up to 15 kilometers when dropped from low altitudes and up to 70 kilometers from high altitudes. Near the village of Popyv Yar in Donetsk Oblast, Ukraine's Baba Yaga drone is devastating Russian troop shelters using heavy TM-62 anti-tank mines. They call it Baba Yaga, and for Russian troops in Ukraine, the name fits all too well. Named after the mythical Slavic witch who strikes fear in the dark, this custom-made Ukrainian drone haunts Russian trenches by night, dropping explosives with deadly precision. Silent, small, and almost impossible to detect, Baba Yaga drones operate at low altitudes, evading traditional air defense systems. They're cheap, effective, and terrifying. In many cases, the psychological impact is just as powerful as the physical damage. Russian soldiers have reported abandoning positions simply because they feared the next quiet buzz in the sky could be their last. Unlike expensive Western systems, these drones are battlefield DIY, fast to produce and devastatingly efficient. In a war where agility often beats brute force, Baba Yaga is rewriting the rules of engagement, one quiet drop at a time. In Russia, to fight the demographic crisis, officials are considering putting unmarried men who aren't trying to start a family on an interior ministry blacklist, punishing them with forced labor or sending them to war. Russia's demographic crisis is no longer a state secret, despite efforts to restrict access to the relevant statistics. Declining birth rates, an aging population, and high mortality are now a serious threat to the country, says Ukraine's foreign intelligence. According to the intel, the crisis is not just weakening Russia's economic stability, it's also pushing the regime toward increasingly radical and absurd policies to solve its social problems. One proposal being reviewed in the State Duma would see unmarried men who haven't gone on a date for 3 months to be placed on a blacklist and forced into labor camps or deployed to the front. The crisis is worsened by Russia's failed migration policy. Moscow relies on workers from Central Asia to fill labor shortages, but is now trying to use them as cannon fodder in its war against Ukraine. Meanwhile, xenophobia is rising, and there's no effective integration policy. Discrimination is deepening the divide, not solving the issue. Ukraine's intelligence also notes an alarming new trend. Children are being forced to work in Russia's military-industrial complex, including on drone assembly lines used against Ukraine. These practices reflect the decay of Russia's social standards. The state is resorting to coercion and repression, placing military goals above the well-being of its own citizens. And Ukrainians are not waiting for Russians to die out. 82nd Air Assault Brigade drops TM-62 anti-tank mines on Russian positions near Popyv Yar, Donetsk region. The 82nd Air Assault Brigade has become one of Ukraine's most capable and mobile formations on the Eastern Front. Recently redeployed to the Donetsk region, the brigade plays a critical role in stabilizing the line amid growing Russian pressure around Chasiv Yar, Toretsk, and the Pokrovsk axis. Equipped with some of the West's most advanced gear, British Challenger 2 tanks, German Marders, American Strikers, and lightweight howitzers, they combine speed, firepower, and flexibility. Their arrival signals that Ukraine isn't just holding the line, it's preparing to strike back where it counts. Russian forces are intensifying their efforts to punch through Ukrainian defenses, but the 82nd's presence changes the equation. This isn't a static infantry unit. It's a rapid response hammer, deployed exactly where the front line needs it most. In Donetsk, where every meter counts, the 82nd is proving that modern combined arms warfare can still outmaneuver raw numbers and Soviet-style tactics. And for the end, according to The Telegraph, a Patriot air defense system and interceptor missiles were likely delivered to Ukraine last week as part of a US-Germany deal. The report suggests this transfer happened quietly.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Every day. gets 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.